እንደምን አመሻችሁ ስለ መጣንበት ዓላማ እንደገና ደግሜ በመናገር ጊዜያችሁን አላባክንም ለመነሻ እንዲሆነኝ ግን ፕሮግራሙን አምናችሁበት እኛን እምነት ሰጣችሁን ይህንን ፕሮግራም የጀመሩት ሰዎች በተለይም ፕሬዝዳንቱን ዶክተር በላይን አይዞ በርታ እናመሰግናለን ለማለት ከዚህ በፊት በአገራችን ሰዎች ስራ ሰርተው ስማቸው ሲረሳ ወይም ነቀፌታው ብቻ ሲያተኩርበት የነበረበት ዘመን ማለቂያው የተቃረበ ይመስላል። ስለዚህ ዶክተር በላይ እናመሰግናለን። በእውነቱ ይህንን እንቅስቃሴ የጀመርነው በቪኦኤ ዶክተር በላይ ኢንተርቪው አድርጎ ባለፈው ሰኔ አካባቢ እንዴ ጎበዝ ምን እናደርግ በአካባቢያችን ትንሽ ነገር ብናደርግ እኮ የተሻለ ነገር ስራ መስራት እንችላለን እንርዳው ለምንድን ነው ማንጀምረው በሚል እንደቀልድ ጀመር ነው እንደቀልድ አልን እንጂ ታርጌታችን $500,000 ነው ከሰዎች ጋር በመነጋገርበት ጊዜ $500,000 አበዳችሁ እንደ ሲሉ ይቻላል 10 ስቴት 50 ሺህ ብር ብናዋጣ በአጭር ጊዜ ውስጥ መሸፈን እንችላለን ይሄ የተንዛዛ ፕሮግራም አይደለም የማህበረሰብ ለውጥ ለማድረግ ሳይሆን አንዲት ችግር ለመፍታት ነው ጠባብ ነው ፎከስድ ነው ማድረግ እንችላለን በሚለው ተነሳ ስለዚህ ከመልካሙ ዜና ልጀምርላችሁ በሁለት ስቴቶች መካከል $150,000 በላይ ባለፉት ወራቶች በእንቅስቃሴ በፕሌጅ እና በአክቹዋል ኮሌክሽን አግኝተናል አሁን ቅድም እንደነገርኳችሁ ምንም ማያቆን ሰዎች ዓላማውን ብቻ የሚደግፉ ሰዎች ከተለያየ ስቴት እዚህ ስንት አለን 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 ሊሆን ነው ወደ 20 ከቦትስዋና ከካናዳ ከዚህ ከዩናይትድ ስቴትስ ካሉ ስቴቶች ሁሉ የዚህ አይነት ክፍያ ደርሶልናል ስለዚህ እኛ ሰምተን አይተን ካላደረግን ያልሰሙ ወገኖቻችን ይሄን አድርገዋልና የጣ ያልደረሳቸው ካሉ አሁንም እንድትነግሩልን እንፈልጋለን ይሄ እንግዲህ ስራ ተሰራ ቋቱ ምን ላይ ነው ያለው ገንዘቡ ምንድነው እንግዲህ አንዳንድ የነን ፕሮፊት ድርጅቶች ሲቋቋሙ ብዙ ሰው የሚሰጋው የት ገባ ለተጠቃሚው ምን ደረሰ ነው እኛ የምናካሄደው ከቴሌፎን ሳይቀር የየግል ቴሌፎን ነምበራችን ነው ቢሮ የለንም ያወጣነው ስቴሽነሪ ያለን ለዚህ ኢቨንት ያዘጋጀነው ወጪ አለን ለመንግስት ሬጂስትሬሽን ያወጣነው ወጪ አለን ሌላ ምንም አይነት ወጪ የለንም አይኖረንም ስለዚህ 99% 98% whatever የሚሄደው ላዋጣችሁላቸው ህፃናቶች መርጃ ነው
ከዚህ ቀጠል በማድረግ የምንሄደው ወደ ፍኖተ ጥበብ ነው ወደ ፖሚን ወደ መድረኩ ጋብዛለሁ ፖሚ በፍኖተ ጥበብ ታዋቂ ገጣሚ ነች እንግሊዘኛ አይቀራትም አማርኛ አይቀራትም በቃ መቅጠም ነው መላችሁ ያው እንግዲህ ወደ መድረኩ ፖሚን እጋብዛለሁ
Brothers and sisters, united, for one purpose striving, for one goal attaining, one heartbeat, one strong pulse, unanimous rhythmic beating, souls for reason connecting. Can you feel it? Yet there's an echo to our unanimous beat, a pulse that just can't seem to get in sync. The more you listen, the more you hear. In the silence of a skip beat lingers a painful cry of defeat. Hundreds and hundreds of little children dying of diseases and widespread malnutrition, not because it's uncurable, but for most, unaffordable. Heart disease in children has become prevalent in our country without adequate treatment. Every cry, every skip beat of their hearts strikes pain and guilt in mine. Can it be the cries of our brothers and sisters? Can it be the skip beats of hearts that are connected to ours? Can you feel it? And yet again, there is hope. Hope in the numbers gathered this evening. Hope in the awareness of our purpose increasing. Let us turn my hope, our hope, into a truth. Make that unanimous beat stronger. Make that pulse, the hum of our pulse, go longer. Can you feel it?
Let me start by saying, halfway through my talk, I probably will change my tongue and may speak in Amharic, but for now, allow me to continue with the language that I have started. You know, to have a dream, to think you can do it, to go back to your country of origin, to keep trying for over 25 years, probably proves one thing. Either the people you are working with are not good human beings, or you don't have what it takes, you are no good. I was losing hope. I had all the confidence in Ethiopians, because I know if Ethiopians believe in a cause, they know how to do it. They know how to join hands. Their wallets may be empty, but they know how to move. The question is to win their confidence, to win their trust, to convince them. I think it's my weakness. I have failed in that. I didn't have what it takes. And I was about to give up. I don't know why somebody in VOA interviewed me. I don't know why this thing called. And now I see Ethiopians beyond the boundaries of Ethiopia coming together, joining hands, galvanized. You can't imagine how heartwarming that is. And please, I'm not trying to pay back. I know I don't deserve the good words that has been said about me by the speakers earlier. But allow me, with the humbleness and humility that I could possibly master, to say thank you. Dr. Gzau, thank you. Ato Tefera, Ato Shepherd, Dr. Nagatu, Saha, and all of you who are here, who have sacrificed your time. You know, giving money is nothing. You're not born with it. But giving your time, your mind, your heart, it goes a long distance. And I would like to say thank you. I'm sorry I took a long time here. You know, we brag about our 3,000 years of freedom, culture, name it, all the goodies that we mention. With a population of 75 million, we have very little to show by way of cardiology. A country of 75 million, its capital, the capital of a continent, the seat of the African Union, we don't have a single cardiac center. I mean, in all honesty, if what I just said is true, don't you think that's good enough for us to change this? We should say enough is enough, this has to stop, and we'll have to do something about it? Next slide, please. Let's go to the next slide. You see, the children's heart, I'll try to be very brief because time is getting late. When we started this, some 17, 18 years ago, it took me about 6, 7 years to establish the Children's Heart Fund of Ethiopia. We had clearly written, clearly spelled out missions and objectives. Let's go to the next slide. And we did lay out our objectives into immediate, intermediate, and long-term objectives. Let's go. Now, with that set out and spelled out objectives, we did start establishing our lavish secretariat. ladies and gentlemen, this lavish secretariat you see is not even a building. We have joined shipping containers. And for those of you who are used to seeing lavish things, we thought we'll put some bricks in front of it. But the message is even in front of the brick. You see a mother holding her child, giving it to you. If you are a human being, you can't resist. You will be tempted to pick that child for this mother. Because nothing pleases someone more than doing something good. Let's go to the next slide, please. Now, the current office that you saw, from this office, we started by addressing our objective. First and most important is to increase public awareness so that the public will take direct participation in the prevention of preventable heart diseases. That, even if you don't give it to me, if you don't give it to us, I think I'll give us, those of us working with the Children's Heart Fund, more than 90%. And this is how we did it. Look at the material that we have distributed to achieve this. Go to the next slide, please. Now, yes, we've sent more than 1,200 children abroad to the United States, to the Netherlands, to Switzerland, to England, to Germany, and to Israel, and have had their surgery. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is not something to brag about. This is something, if I could dare accept recognition for the achievement I just mentioned earlier, increased public awareness, I think here I should be charged for an offense. In fact, I call it 1,200, on 1,200 count of attempted murder. I'll explain what I mean by that. To some of you, I will probably summarize this later on. But let me give you, in my own mother tongue, why I say this. እግዚአብሔር ያሳያችሁ። ኃይሉ ሰለሞን ይባላል። Oh, I might as well go in English. A child's name is Hailu Solomon. I did send him to Minneapolis, to the then Children's Heart Fund in Minneapolis, associated with the Minneapolis Heart Institute for heart surgery. The child had his surgery, he came back to Ethiopia. Mommy was happy, daddy was happy. They came with the child holding a rose as a gift for me. And they wanted to appreciate what we did. I told them, I'm sorry. I don't think I deserve this. You see, what kind of a mother? You know what mothers are when it comes, and I call all mothers እብዶች ነው የምለው when it comes to their children, because they lose their minds. What kind of a mother, can you imagine, will not be there when her child undergoes open heart surgery? Daddy, the strong man, the macho, who can beat almost anybody on earth. Can you imagine a father who doesn't stand by his child's side when his child undergoes heart surgery? And let's put it this way. You have a 5-year-old, you have a 3-year-old. He comes out of the surgery. What does he see? The people in front of him doesn't look like him. They don't speak his language. Even if he wants to have a glass of water, he doesn't know how to ask them in their language. Now, what would he feel about his mother, the strongest person that he knows, that sweet mother of his? Daddy was not there. Mom wasn't there for him. Can you imagine what kind of a psychological scar probably this child has? Do you know when it's going to manifest itself? At the age of 30, 40, 50? I don't know. I'm probably responsible for this. But then, let's put it this way. There is always, those people who are fortunate would look at things in 4 or in 5 dimensions. Some might see in 3 dimensions. I don't think I should be limited and see in a single dimension. At least I should have the wisdom to look at things in 2 dimensions. The good and the bad side of things. And if we look at that, we can learn from here. We can change the situation. We should say enough is enough. It's about time. We have a cardiac center in Ethiopia. Let's go to the next slide, please. Oh, a surgery in Ethiopia. Yes. I have had Healing the Children, headquartered in Spokane, come to Ethiopia 4 times to do open heart surgery. I have had a team that came from Germany to do open heart surgery. I have had a team that came from Israel to do surgery. This is the kind of thing we're supposed to do. And we have done about 150 of them in Ethiopia. But this should not be on a periodic basis. This should be our daily activity in Ethiopia. And that's where I want you to make it happen. And I'll tell you one thing. You do surgery? No, don't change that. Bring that one back, please. We do surgery. We usually discharge the patients in less than 48 hours. Look at this beauty there. Open heart surgery, less than 48 hours. She still has pain. You see it on her face, but she's walking home. Next slide, please. We've done this because we have committed Ethiopians. I told you I had always believed in Ethiopians. Though recently that faith in me was wavering, and thank you for reinstating it. But we have people who work with us who have sacrificed themselves. But just a second, let me tell you one thing, and I didn't mention this because Tafarra said 98-99% to the beneficiaries. Ladies and gentlemen, from my knowledge, worldwide, established NGOs, I don't know any NGO in the world that has given more than 70% directly to the beneficiaries. We at the Children's Heart Fund of Ethiopia are audited by international auditors. We, at the Children's Heart Fund, we there have been audited by international auditors. Every year, we have certified this for the last 17 years. We have given more than 93% of money collected or assistance collected directly to the beneficiaries. This is unmatched, unparalleled by any NGO worldwide. I have the audacity, the guts to stand up and state this, and I challenge anybody. And just a side remark. The Addis Ababa University was celebrating its 50th, 50. You see, that's where we stand, by the way, in that part of the world. Its 50th anniversary. They recognized the Children's Heart, they recognized people in the arts, in music, in law, in literature, name it. When they came to health, they recognized the Children's Heart Fund as the single organization or human being that deserves to be recognized in the history of, in the 50-year history of the Addis Ababa University. And I thought that was a nice gesture. A moment of truth, a point of no return. This is our dream, to establish a cardiac center in Ethiopia. By the way, the General Assembly of the Children's Heart Fund last August authorized that we will give 25% of our beds to adults also. But we haven't reached here yet. Let's go forward. We started this by laying the foundation, by placing the cornerstone, which His Holiness was talking about earlier. Next slide, please. When we laid the foundation mortar, that was what it looked like. Let's go. And this is very recent. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Stop here for a second. This is about 10 days ago. Pictures taken about 10 days ago. The contractor, as I mentioned earlier, is going to leave mid-January. This all will be finished. We are now the final stages, putting ceramics, putting marble, glazing is almost complete, lighting system fixtures, and maybe bathroom things. These are the things we are doing. Of course, you may have a question here. If you're going to finish this hospital in January, what do you need the money for? I'll tell you two things. I'll come to most of it later on, but let me mention one thing here. The kind of surgery we're going to do in Ethiopia should be state-of-the-art, 21st century surgery. We have to have ventilation system, gas supply system, air conditioning system. The air conditioning system is not the kind of air conditioning that you have in this room. In an operating room, number one, the air conditioning system should have bacteria filtering mechanism. Therefore, the air that gets into the room not only gets in with the right temperature, but free of bacteria, relatively free of bacteria. When staff opens the door, air shouldn't come from outside towards the operating room. The pressure in that operating room should be higher than the outside, so that when you open the door, clean air goes out, dirty air doesn't come in. That is expensive. That would cost us about, $300,000, $400,000, about 4 million birr. And we're not going to establish a cardiac center per se. Establishing a cardiac center, building it is nothing. Equipping it is going to cost us the equivalent of 90+ million Ethiopian birr. Where are we going to get that money? But luckily for us, Sir Professor Magdi Yacob, the world-acclaimed, world-renowned cardiac transplant surgeon, who has probably done the most cardiac transplant than anybody in the world. He's the founder and president of Chain of Hope. Has been twice in Ethiopia. He'll be in Ethiopia in 3 weeks' time. They are going to supply the bulk of the equipment. But then, building the hospital is one thing. Equipping it, boom, yeah, big thing, yes, but not everything. There is the issue of manning it. If we send our doctors, our nurses outside for training, number one, if they are not licensed, they will not get hands on patients. If they are licensed, probably they won't come. And even otherwise, you don't have rheumatic heart disease in the United States, or it's very rare. I claim I single-handedly see more rheumatic heart disease patients than all cardiologists put together in the United States. And I convinced Sir Jacob, yes, he said, you're right, that probably is what's happening. I see about 6,000 a year. If so, our doctors, our professionals should be trained in Ethiopia. So what happened is, Chain of Hope is coming in, the World Heart Foundation is coming in, they are going to be honorary professors of our university, they are going to teach, we are going to have, produce our cardiologists, cardiac surgeons, cardiac nurses, respiratory therapists in Ethiopia. In 5 to 7 years' time, we'll probably have enough professionals, not for one cardiac center, but for 10 cardiac centers if we can build it. Hold it, that's not odd. When I told them about the number of rheumatic heart disease patients that I see, Sir Jakob said, Dr. Abagaz, can you allow me to establish a research center in Ethiopia focusing on rheumatic heart disease? The rationale being the Royal College of Molecular and Cellular Heart Research Institute is named after him and has tons of money for that. He can't give that money to me for the cardiac center, but for the research institute, yes. When he came last August, he said, do you know how much it would cost you? I'm ready to sign the check for you. I said, please hold it, Sir Jakob. In time, we will do it. We're going to have a research center. What does that mean? We're going to have applicants, not from the African continent alone. We're going to have applicants from Europe. We're going to have applicants from the United States, because they don't have that staff here. They can't do that here. I said, Sir Jakob, once again I said, make my day. Yes, I have asked the international community to help us. Maybe that would give us the chance to pay back to the rest of the world what they cannot get in their own homeland, knowledge. What more do you want? Knowledge. And said, Dr. Abagaz, maybe you're right. Maybe you have a point there. And we continue. Let's go forward. Let's come back. You know, I said, I was losing hope. And we started to get partners. And who do we get? Sir Jakob over there, chain of hope with the Children's Heart Fund. Let's go to the next slide. And then we came up to some issue. What are we going to do? All right, we're lucky. Somehow, for some reason, we might be able to build a hospital. Maybe, yes, you'll help us equip it. Maybe you'll help us train the manpower. How are we going to sustain it? See, some 25 years ago, when I went to Ethiopia, I thought I had triplet pregnancy. Building a cardiac center, equipping a cardiac center, and fulfilling its human resources. Took me 25 years, no, to be exact, 24 years. It's to realize that even if we could do this, unless we sustain it, it will crumble. Ensuring the sustainability of the cardiac center is a terribly important thing. This is a plot of land given to me initially by the government, 2,300 square meters big. We have a design that's ready. Construction permit approved for 2 blocks to be built here. One an apartment block, the other one an office block. We will probably move out of our container and use part of that office block. The rest we can rent it. Having children coming from the provinces, when you have a single cardiac center, it may be a lot better than sending them to the United States and Europe, but still far away from home. When they come out of hospital, like that child, 48 hours later, sending her to the Mercato or to the provinces is not fair. A guest house with apartments should be there. Whatever is not being used, we can rent that apartment also. And we can go public and advertise. We have nice offices, nice apartments. We have competitive price. The only difference is when you rent from us, you save hearts. And I think we can sell that idea. Let's go to the next slide, please. Our partners, well, Chain of Hope I have mentioned. Healing the Children have been my partner for over 17 years. They have come, amongst other things, 4 times to Ethiopia. Save the Child's Israel, they have done now almost more than 200 children's surgery in Israel with me. Project Cure, the world's largest medical equipment donating agency, headquartered in Denver, but with 5 main offices throughout the United States. They have come on board. The executive officer of Project Cure was with me in October. I think some of you people at Otafarra, I can call upon you. You have read the paper that he has written, his idea about what we are doing back home, and I think that's good testimony. But most importantly, Children's Fund Ethiopia, headquartered in Minneapolis. You are our newest acquisition, if I may use that term. You're making this happen. Thank you, and God bless you. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, thank you. The next slide. That's one of the Children's Fund USA Atlanta branch. She was recently in Addis. I left her in Addis. She's there to see this. And for the Atlanta group, when I showed them this, that was testimony. Let's go to the next slide. All right. Oh, by the way, if you know Gishen Mariam, that's the way to Gishen Mariam. Next slide. That's where I grew up. And we have this is what we say. I'm sorry, those of you who do not understand Amharic, I have to say this in Amharic. የባለቤቴ እናት ናቸው ወይ መርቀውኛል ወይ ረግመውኛል በላይ ስጥ እንጂ አትቀበል በላይ በሰጠው እንጂ በሰጡኝ አትበል ሲኖራችሁ ነው የምትሰጡት ሲኖራችሁ ነው በሰጠው የምትሉት መርቃት ነው እርግማን ፍርዱን ለእናንተ ልቶ የኔ አባት ጨመሩበት ወሎዬ ናቸው በላይዋ ዋሲው ልጄ እርጥብ ነህ እርጥብ እንደሆን ከሞት ብለው Let's go to the next slide. Okay, you don't have Amharic software here, but all right, the English part they provided. Go to the next slide, it's okay. If you had an Amharic software, this would have popped up, all right, and that would have been the translation of this. But most of you read English anyway. Somebody said, this is the language of the earth. What's missing is the language of heaven. Go to the next slide. And there comes the language of heaven. We may not have the capacity, the talent. We may be ignorant. But if you have a heart, you can save a broken heart. At least you can put a band-aid on it. In English, it means women broken hearts. Let's go to the next slide. And I will go. This is a child that came to me 2 weeks before my coming to the United States. I have several pictures of him. In most, he's coughing. This is the best view I could get of him when he is most comfortable. And he certainly doesn't look comfortable to me, even in this posture. You are invited. Earlier I said, save a heart and feel good about it. Have a heart to save a child's heart. I leave it to you. I thank you. This I would like to give to our president, Atotafarra. This is the project proposal for the establishment of cardiac center. Hold on. This is an expert study by a known firm, a study describing how we can sustain it. This document will tell you the sustainability of the children's health. And I have studied and emailed it to him, but for you to see, these are several letters written by Sariabu. I'm not going to read it. One, it says equipment. Two, the running of the cardiac unit. Three, academic and training program. Four, research institute. Sariabu has committed himself in these 4 areas the way I told you. Ato Taparra has received copies of these and other letters again written by Sariabu. He had this. I would like to give him this in front of you because he is accepting this on your behalf.